Greetings, my name is Kerry and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to the final part of my pre-move Unhaul video series, and welcome to the final video I'm going to be filming in this flat that I live in, which is kind of weird and kind of sad, I guess. I'm trying to do it quickly before the light fades too much because my lights are packed and I need to pack my tripod in a minute as well. Most of my books are packed, my shelves are looking really sad and empty. You can see that's one of my boxes there. There's just a few bits. Well, there's actually still quite a lot to do, so I need to get this done today so I can separate the stuff out that's going to charity shop, taking that down in a couple of days' time. So I've got quite a lot more books here to go through. They're not going to be in any particular order because they're just the order that I happen to pick them up in. They are mainly ones that I've read and decided I'm not going to reread. There are a couple in there that I haven't read, I think, as well. But yeah, I'm just gonna get on with it. And see how many more this is, because if you have watched my previous unhauls, I already did 2 pre-move unhauls and I got rid of about 80 books in those, and I'm amazed at how many I still have left considering how many I have got rid of. But anyway, here we go. So first we have The Warden by Anthony Trollope. Now I really liked this book, but I got a Photo Society edition from Ninja Book Box from their online shop, so I don't need this slightly tatty paperback anymore. Got some Agatha Christie ones here. Got this Agatha Christie Classic Mysteries, so it's got 3 Poirot stories and 3 Miss Marple stories, and I realised that actually I have all of these stories in other books now, so I don't need that one anymore. And then I've got my 2 omnibus editions which I bought when I was reading along with Mission Marple, hosted by Mara from Books Like Woe. While I love all of these stories, when I come to reread them I want to buy individual copies, so there's no point keeping these omnibus editions anymore. If they'd been in order then I maybe would have kept them, but they're just all jumbled up. So like this one's got 2 or 3 from like the end of the series and then the very first one, and yeah, they're just all jumbled and it's a bit annoying, so those are going. So then we've got one that I haven't read, and I just decided, I've read another book by this author and just decided I probably won't actually get around to reading this. So this is Girl with a Pearl Earring by Tracy Chevalier. I read another one of her books a couple of years ago and it was alright, but I didn't love it, and I've seen the film of this as well, so I'm not that fussed to read it. We've got a book that I finished recently. This is called Grace by Randy Alcorn. This is a collection of daily devotional readings. Like, it's got a short Bible passage and a reflection on it and some quotes and stuff like that. It was alright, but it's not something I'm going to reread. And then we've got 2 books from a series. So we've got Magic Kingdom for Sale by Terry Brooks and the sequel Black Unicorn. These are the first 2 books in the Magic Kingdom of Landover series. So I read this one, didn't love it, I decided I'm not going to carry on with the series, so I had not read this one, but I'm not going to. Next we've got a book in French. This is called L'Oeil de Tigre. I think the English version was called Taming the Tiger, I'm not quite sure. This is by Tony Anthony. This is the story of a guy who was a martial arts expert and a security guard but ended up in prison, and then when he was in prison he became a Christian. I don't really remember much of it. I read it quite a while ago, but I just thought I'm not likely to reread it, so that one can go. Then we have The Life of Pi by Jan Martel. Again, I read this one quite a while ago and probably won't reread it, and I think I'm pretty sure I have the DVD, so I will probably just watch the film if I want to enjoy this story again. Okay, then we have the Divergent series by Veronica Roth in this nice box set. So I read all of these when they first came out and just don't think I'll reread them. And then I've also got 4, which is the companion set of novellas told from the perspective of the character 4. Yeah, it's not a series I think I'll reread. It's okay dystopian YA fiction, but not quite as good as some of the others that I enjoyed that I would reread, but these ones I think I probably won't. Okay, let's do the stack next. So I've found a little Spanish English dictionary. I've got the NIV Pocket Concordance, so this is like helps you find where passages on different topics in the Bible, but a couple of my Bibles have built-in concordances and you can look stuff up on the internet quite easily, so I don't really need that anymore. Got a couple of memoirs here. I've got Chasing the Dragon by Jackie Pullinger. So she was a missionary to Hong Kong, I think in the 70s. I read this when I was in school, and I just thought not something I'm likely to reread now. And then we've got Falling Leaves by Adeline Yen Ma, who was an unloved child in China. I don't really remember much about it, but I thought I probably won't actually get around to rereading it ever. Then we've got a few Christian non-fiction ones. So we've got a short little leaflet called Know How to Teach Every Child in Sunday School. I've done a lot of training about this sort of thing, and it's covered in some other books I have, so I don't need to keep that anymore. I've got a book called The Moral Revolution by Chris Vallotton and Jason Vallotton. It's kind of about Christian dating. It was I thought it was alright when I read it, but it's not one that I would reread or really necessarily want to lend out to other people, so yeah, that's going. We've got If You Want to Walk on Water, You've Got to Get Out of the Boat, which is one that we read when I was a teenager. I think we read it in like a book group at church or something. I can't really remember. Not going to reread it. And we've got Get More Like Jesus While Watching TV by Nick Pollard and Steve Couch, which is a good name for a book about watching TV. Yeah, again, I read this a couple of years ago and I just decided I'm not going to reread it. And then we've got Shine by the Newsboys, which I think I read last year. I did quite enjoy this, but it's another one I'm not going to reread it, so someone else might as well get the benefit from it. I'm saying that a lot today. And then finally we've got He's Not What I Ordered by Modope Charlotte Alatis. So I read this one quite recently. It's a book on Christian dating, and I'm not going to reread it. So then I've got a couple of memoirs. Got Lucky by Alice Sebold, so I just finished this at the end of August. It was a really interesting insight into how she survived rape and coped after that, like what happened to her, the process she went through of trying to bring her rapist to justice, and how she was affected mentally and physically in the aftermath of that. It was a really good book, quite difficult to read, and not one I'm going to reread, but someone else might enjoy it. Well, I don't know if enjoy is the right word for that. Okay, and then similarly I've got another memoir here, My Life as a Traitor by Zara Garamani. This was one I read in August as well. It was about a young woman who was a political prisoner in Iran and how she was treated in the prison system there. Again, quite a difficult read in places, and not one that I'm going to reread. I've then got a collection of Dickens Christmas stories, but I have all of these in another edition because I have now a set of the complete works of Dickens, so I don't need this collection. And then we've got 3 books that I read, some more recently than others, that I'm not going to reread, 3 novels. So we've got A Walk to Remember by Nicholas Sparks. I remember quite enjoying this when I read it, but I don't think I'll reread it. And again, there's a movie version of it which I relatively enjoy. We've got The Empress and the Cake by Linda Stift. I'm slightly sad to get rid of this one because I love Perrine books, but I just thought I'm not going to read this one. It was a very interesting and quirky story, but the central character has bulimia, and there are some quite graphic descriptions of how that affects her and what she does as a result of that, and it was, in other ways, was a really fun read that was a little bit off-putting and would make me not want to reread this. And then we've got We Need to Talk About Kevin by Lionel Shriver. So I read this a long time ago and I kept it because I had intended to reread it at some point, but I was just thinking about it the other day, and I think there's a lot of shock factor in this book that will probably be lost the second time of reading it, even though it's been a long time since I read it. And Lionel Shriver has made some comments sort of along a meritocracy line about literature, which makes me not want to read her books anymore. So I'm not keeping that one now. Not too many more now. So next we have The Universe in 365 Days. So this is a picture a day from like NASA of different things in the universe, and I bought this a long time ago because I do love stuff to do with space. I find it really fascinating. Some of the pictures in here are gorgeous, but it's just sat on my shelf for so many years now and I don't ever look at it. And like, if I want to look at space pictures, there are loads of websites that I can find them on. Someone else might enjoy this, might get some use out of it, and it's a big heavy book that's taking up space on my shelf. Next, we have a little stack of books that were all from when I was training to be a French teacher, or are associated with trying to learn French and Spanish. So we've got the short stories in French parallel text, which I finished reading in August. I didn't really enjoy most of the stories in here. There were only 2 that I kind of liked, so I'm not going to reread it. And someone else might find it really helpful if they're learning French. We've got Visage de la France Contemporaine by Michel Blanc. I read this last year, I think, or I finished reading it last year. It's just a series of essays about France. particularly to do with its history and politics, and it's not something I'm going to reread. So it's in French, and someone learning French might find that helpful. I've got this picture book about Spain. It's like a kid's encyclopedia, but it's quite short. I'm not interested in keeping this, I don't have space for it. I've got first words in French. Now this is quite a nice, if someone is trying to learn French or teach their children French, they'll find this really useful, and so I'd rather pass it on to someone else than have it taking up space on my shelves or in my storage boxes. I've got complete guide to French verbs and a guide to Spanish verbs. My learning of Spanish is a bit more casual, like I'm not that worried about learning the intricacies of conjugating loads of verbs, and I'm not in the position to need the same for French anymore, so getting rid of them. I've got a Spanish phrase book for kids, so this is a little bit more simplistic than my level, so someone else might find that really useful. I've got 2 books from when I was studying French to help me improve my French, which again someone else might find quite helpful. So we've got Upgrade Your French and Difficulté expliquée du français for English speakers. So these were 2 books that we used at uni, but I'm not studying French in that much detail anymore. I don't need to know it to this level anymore. I'm more interested in just having it sort of conversationally now. So they can go. And then we've got another Spanish dictionary, English-Spanish illustrated dictionary. We've got a junior guide to Spanish, so another Spanish phrase book aimed at children. And then I've got a book called Developing French, which I bought when I was training to be a French teacher because it's got some like great worksheet stuff in there, but it's not something I need anymore. And then finally one more book is a craft book called Knit It, Stitch It. This is like a kid's introduction to sewing and knitting kind of crafts. It's got some really cute stuff in it, but I don't need this. I've got some other more grown-up books on these subjects, so I'd rather like let a kid buy this and learn how to knit for themselves or sew for themselves and have that enjoyment of something that's brought me so much joy. So that is the final one, and this actually has not taken as long as I thought it would to get through. I'm just going to count how many books this is. About 44, 45. So those are all gonna go to the charity shop in a couple of days. Hopefully they'll all go to lovely new homes. That's crazy. That is over 120 books that I've purged from my life in the last month and a half. And what is really crazy is the amount that I've still got left. So I have currently done 24 boxes of books to go into storage, and I think 5 boxes to go with me to college, and I've still got, I mean, these bookshelves are looking quite empty, but my other bookshelf that I'm sat next to still fairly full. So I think there's probably going to be at least another 4 or 5, maybe even more boxes. And my parents have said today they are running out of space to store things. I'm not sure what I can do about that because I have already got rid of over 120 books. Yeah. I mean, I'm not one to use the phrase too many books, but at times like this it does feel like that. Anywho, I'm gonna go and box these up to go to the charity shop. I don't think I have the energy to do much more packing today. We'll have to see. Next time I'll be filming in my new place at college, which will be weird. I don't know what my filming setup will be, so you'll just have to wait and see for that. But you may see videos there before you see this. So anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling now and go and do something productive. Right, so thank you so much for watching. Please like this video if you liked it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a chat to me down in the comments about anything I've mentioned today. Follow me on my social media. All that information is listed in the description box for you, where to find me on Twitter and on Instagram and on Goodreads. But that's it for today, so thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye!